Today, we're looking at the issues facing short sellers in the industry in today's relentless stock rally. And it is also the big take for Bloomberg. Joining us now is Bloomberg's Denitsa Tsekova, who wrote this story. And you really spoke to everyone here, from Jim Chanos to Andrew Left. And are they really all throwing in the towel at this point?
We started looking at the data, and we started looking at the S&P member, and the short interest was down to 2001 lows. We started looking at the number of hedge funds. It's down to 14 constituents, according to one of the indices. So we went to the big names. We went to Jim Chanos. He said it's hard to raise capital. It's kind of impossible to raise capital. And you can imagine if Jim Chanos himself is struggling to find money in short selling. A lot of the smaller players probably find it even more difficult. We went to Andrew Left. He called them a dying breed. We reported recently on Carson Block launching his latest fund, and it's a long-only fund. And that reflects a lot of the industry. There are closures, there are moves to long-only funds. So that really focused short-selling funds is really disappearing very fast.
Now, I want to clarify as well, because throwing in the towel, but not completely, even though Andrew Left said that it's a dying breed of short selling, he was also the person who bet against GameStop as it was soaring just a day ago, as he told you guys. So to what extent are people starting to step back from this industry, given that there are still obviously opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. So we have to acknowledge there are a lot of young people coming into it and very passionate about it. They're releasing a lot of reports that had really strong impact on the stocks. But that said, the amount of money you get into those funds is a lot smaller. Talking about Andrew Left, we did that story about him yesterday, but he said his bet is much smaller in size. And I think that's an interesting theme because a lot of the short sellers really struggled in 2021. And there is this kind of sense that there is still a battle with retail traders. So for Andrew Left, he got burned in 2021. He potentially incurred some more losses in May and now, but he continues to bet under those stocks. But the thing is, he has reduced the ammunition he puts in those short bets.
Is there a structural reason at this point that short selling would become more difficult for any reason?
I think on a very simple level, just the relentless 30 trillion stock market rally makes it impossible. It's just like a constant, and obviously people have been talking for so long. Now interest rates are higher, so all those more speculative bubbles and fevers in market will disappear. But that hasn't happened necessarily. Obviously, some of those big retail names saw their shares drop back to pre-pandemic levels, but we haven't seen like a big, massive sell-off in broad market sell-off.
But what about financial watchdogs as well? Are there kind of reasons that would even scare people away from this market that are non-financial? And are there more financial reasons besides this? Are people getting stopped out, essentially? Is this becoming a losing trade?
For sure. People are like, is it really worth all the pressure? The fact that investigators may show up at your door tomorrow and say, you're doing something, we're investigating a market manipulation. Andrew Left had a good quote about it. He said, I honestly wish I bought tech stocks and like I didn't want my family to be worried. I would just play golf and be on vacation. So there is the regulators, there is companies suing you, there is retail traders emailing you saying you're shorting their stock. There is just like a constant pressure. There are even government bans. Like if we look at China and South Korea, there have been recent restrictions to short selling. So pretty much any side of the financial market is kind of turned to against them. And, you know, they're kind of an easy victim. And it's easy to say, oh, it's their fault for a certain sell-offs.